Thanks so much for joining me. Today we're doing this lovely lilac look. I really wanted to revisit this eyeshadow 232. And I also thought it would be a lovely pairing with this new palette to me. This is my third and hopefully my last palette that I've picked up from Chanel, the Beige collection here in light coral. So I've got medium coral, I've got medium rose gold. Actually, they're right here. So if you have not seen those videos yet, I posted separate videos on them. And I also have done a comparison between medium coral and medium rose gold side by side if you want to see them on the face. I think that's the best way to see the comparison. I have swatched them on my arm, but I think on the face you really get to see the difference. Light coral, medium coral, and then medium rose gold. So do let me know if you'd like to see a comparison of all three together. So I'll figure out how to do that. I do have to say though, this one surprised me out of all three, and I'll explain that to you as we do the Get Ready With Me. So let's go ahead and get started. Okay, let's start with let's start with primer first. So we're going in with this Mattifying Primer by Chanel. It's quite warm, so I've skipped moisturizer. So I get a little bit more oily when it's warm. And I typically get more oily just here. So that's why I'm applying it right in the center. And then going in with eye concealer first, the Chanel eye concealer in shade 40. Okay, let's go underneath with Trench first. Because usually I will save this till the last step, but let's do it now. I thought we could try something different here today because I usually like to add foundation and then concealer for these dark spots, but this adheres really nicely. So this is a little experiment here. This is a Jones Road, the Neutralizer pencil, and it's in light peach. So let's do the dark spots first. And I like the texture here. It's very smooth on the skin. Just gonna tap that in. And then we'll see if we need concealer on top. This is just because I want to see if it works well or not. And then right here, actually let's just do this because you can see I have some darkness on my chin. And that's usually because if I get a breakout or a little blemish, it'll be on my chin and then it scars and then it just makes this a little bit darker. We're not going to blend that in super well because I'm going to put foundation over and let's see what happens. The Ultra Le Temps, which I know is a favorite of many viewers. If you haven't seen my foundation video, I have tried all of the foundations by Chanel and now the powder one that's available in other countries. This is a really nice long wear foundation. It's the most foundation-y foundation they have. This is in the shade BD41. I'm gonna use this BK Beauty 106 brush. I've been playing around with their foundation brushes just to see what I like. Like right here, it does a nice job, I noticed. And then I'm going to take this other BK Beauty brush. It's the 105. It's much larger, but I want it really nice and dispersed on the exterior because I don't usually put foundation there. But this is such a foundation-y foundation, so it's got more coverage. So I would just want it to be continuous, but also more sheer on the exterior. So more concentrated on the interior, more sheer on the exterior. So I feel like this buffs it in really nicely. It makes it more cohesive, but also a little bit more nuanced. I think it makes it a little bit less visible because you can't see where it starts or ends the foundation. These two actually are kind of fun to play with because you can get a really nice, elegant look with foundation. I'm going to take the 106 again and just keep this concentrated more in the center. So that's a really quick foundation that does such a nice job, especially when you find the right color match. Like this is such a great color match for me, BD41. I am going to go in and set though with this YSL powder I've been enjoying. It's the translucent one. Ooh, but what happened to the little applicator? The applicator is like a round sponge and it does such a nice job of getting the powder in there. So I've got it here. Now I also noticed it comes in different shades, so I would like to try that someday. one of the shades. I just don't know which one because I like powders that are lighter, that have a peachy undertone. Okay, so that was interesting, that Jones Road pencil underneath. We're still gonna see a little bit of that discoloration poking through, but that's okay. I'm gonna go in with the Perfect Blur powder here momentarily, just because I really like finishing off with that powder. It just evens everything out nicely and does a little bit of color correcting for me. So let's get that Perfect Blur powder going. Okay, I'm gonna just do some brows quickly and then we'll keep going. Okay, I just went in with a combination, of course, Jones Road Beauty Brow Pencil in this shade Light Brunette, which works really well for my brows. Has a lot of color payoff, has a nice cool tone to it. Then I used also the Baby Blade by Victoria Beckham in dark brown. And then I went in with the Jones Road Beauty Brow Gel, just a little bit of it. I kind of scraped some of the excess off and I went in with that as well. It's in Light Brunette. We're gonna go in though with this Lilas Poudre 232, and I'm going to combine it with another Chanel palette because I've done a look with just this. It's really pretty, but as I sheer it out, it has more of like a reddish tone. It's not red by any means, but it has like a pinkiness to it as it's sheared out. But then I noticed, like even right there, it kind of brings out like certain red tones in my eye area from not quite sure what, but when I go like this, like in a denser kind of application, it has more of a blue tone. It's kind of interesting. And I prefer the blue tone in here. So I'm just taking this. You can do a really quick eye with this. It's really nice. I didn't think I would like this matte because I don't love matte shadows as a one and done. I like satin shadows as a one and done because they provide dimension, but this is a really beautiful wash of color. So if you like mattes and you want this, what I'm gonna do though, let me build this up just a little bit. I'm going to intensify it with an existing Chanel palette, if you have it. And I noticed it was available, gosh, as of the filming of this online. Maybe I'll post it now so you'll know when I film this. Might be a little while before I post this. I'm gonna use this one, which was limited edition, but I just saw it. 02 Tweed POURPRE. I think I said that correctly. I think I have mentioned I've taken French, but I'm not very good at it. Okay, let's take the number 12, and I wanna take something, let's go with this one first, something a little bit more subdued, and put that in the outer corner. See what that looks like. That's bringing in like the redder tones. So I'm gonna keep going. I'm gonna use this tone right here, the deepest shade. I wanna just show you some options in case you have this. So if you wanna intensify, this is gonna bring out some of those like more rosy tones in there. So that gives you a nice comparison. Compared to the Lilas Poudre, you can see that if you have this, the Tweed POURPRE, this one has a little bit more red tone, like a pinky tone in there. So we're going to go in with this, which is my all-time favorite Chanel palette still, is Tisse Rivoli. So I want to take this deepest shade here and then apply that to the corner. But I did want to show you, you could take other palettes that you have and intensify this nicely. So just going in the external outer corner here and into the crease just a little bit. And then I want to take this shadow right here, this one, and I'm going to use that in the crease to blend both of those together. I'm definitely gonna need some Clé de Peau there to clean that up. I went a little too low there. Okay, so let me just add mascara. I'll show you how I clean up this edge here if I've gone too low. So I have a little bit of concealer here because I was talking when I thought the camera was on. It was not on. So I was just saying that it kind of changes the shape of my eye to not put concealer. Not in a bad way, it just changes it. But I just added Clé de Peau concealer here to clean up the edges and also fill in this darkest area. Just gets dark there because of the shape of my eye on the end there. And then I just like to kind of buff that in, not buff, but blend it nicely so it's not a distinct line, just as a little lift to the eye area. I'll fix anything if I need to later. Let's go ahead finally with light coral. So I've got here, I did not expect to get light coral because I started off with medium rose gold. I love this one. It's the most used palette I have between the two so far. So I've got medium coral here, and I did a side-by-side, which I believe has posted already, where I show both of these on my face at the same time. And what's interesting about these is I swatched them side by side and they didn't look that different, but on the face they look really different. The medium coral I would swirl all together to get a lovely bronzer look, and then this one I like to use separately, and like I said, I've been using this the most. Now, many of you let me know that you are the same coloring as me and you really like light coral. So I had to pick up light coral. I didn't have to. I wanted to pick up light coral because I really enjoy these palettes. They're so easy to use and serve so many purposes. So light coral, medium coral, and then also, let's see if I can do this all at once. We also have medium rose gold. Some of you mentioned this was kind of a golden tone, which now that I look at it, it's not as neutral as I thought, but on we're gonna really see. Let's take this, we'll bronze with this. This is a Ray Morris brush, the Kabuki brush. This is the deluxe size. So let me just see the color here, because I swatched this already. Okay, so there's the color. It looks kind of neutral. Let's see. Oh yeah. It is more like a golden tone. That is so interesting. I'm gonna have to see against now medium coral, I think has more red in it, but I'm gonna have to do side by side now with this and medium coral. Yeah, this is lovely. I like this one too. So blendable. This brush I think is really nice. I haven't used this for this purpose yet. I've used the Niji Pro brush, which is very nice, but I think this one buffs it in really well. I usually use this for blush. This is one of my favorite shapes of brushes, or brush shapes. It's tapered like this. I think that's why it kind of blends so easily. Very nice. Okay, I like that. That's really pretty. So let's complete this, just the bronzer part. And I can really tell how close it is to my natural color when I put it on my forehead. So if it looks too cool or too red, I'll see it on my forehead. But yeah, I'm surprised. This one surprises me. This is not all how I thought it would look on. I thought it was going to be kind of like a dull, you know what I thought it was going to be? I thought it was going to be like Charlotte Tilbury's Film Star Bronze and Glow. That one is really cool, like the original one. The one that is the more medium or deeper toned one with the coral highlighter, it had a little bit, I think, of a warmer tone to it. I'm just trying to imagine as I decluttered that. But I thought this was going to look like the Film Star Bronze and Glow, the original, the lighter version, and it doesn't look like that at all. It's not gray at all. It's quite golden. Pleasantly surprised. It's beautiful. It does have a bit of a glow to it in and of itself, doesn't it? Like a really slight glow. You can see on my forehead it's not totally matte. It's very like a skin-like, second skin-like kind of glow. I can see why this one sold out. I feel like it's also because it's the lightest of them all. I think it's worse for like your lighter skin tones as well as medium. And it's buildable. Let's build this up a little. It's gonna be too much. I'm gonna just know that already, but let's just, I wanna see. Really pretty. Okay, so let's go in with the blush. So none of the blushes so far are anything I would put directly on my face as the first item, because I like to use the Valentino blush. It's got such a lovely, very refined kind of glow to it. And these don't have that quality. They're not as refined in their glow. They're pretty, but it's not the same thing. So let's see if this, let's see how this goes. Because I love that Valentino blush. I haven't found anything really to compare it to. It's so silky going on. It's such a pretty skin flattering kind of blush. So let's see if this has any of those qualities. So you'd like to use the Valentino up here to kind of even out the skin tone and color correct a little bit. Okay, so I'm liking that this is got some of that peachy warmth to it, but I see that it has more detectable glow, and it's a golden glow that I'm seeing. More like the medium rose gold has a golden hue, a golden glow to the blush embedded in it. And I know it's not from the highlighter because they are far apart here. I'm not picking up any highlighter. But it's pretty. It's definitely pretty, but it's not, still would not replace my Valentino, but it's lovely. This does, I can see, have the potential to emphasize texture if you go in too heavily, because I have some enlarged pores here. And I can see if I add too much of this, it's going to emphasize those. So I've got to be a little bit more careful here. So I still would go in with Valentino first and then maybe apply this as an intensifying kind of blush, but not the way I use the Valentino, which is all the way up here. So I know it sounds silly, but if I were to take this to travel with, I would also take the Valentino blush, as would apply to the other two palettes that I have. Same thing. I would first start with the Valentino and then apply this. But this is, out of the three, the closest to me not taking the Valentino. If I could not take the Valentino blush, this is the only palette I would choose to use this alone. Like I wouldn't use the rose gold by itself, blush-wise, or the medium coral. And for those reasons, that there's a little bit too much of a glow that emphasizes texture. And the Valentino is opposite of that, does a nice job of flattering the texture. But let's go with this for now. It's definitely a coral look. And then let's do the highlighter. I'm just gonna take the same brush and let's do some highlighter. See what that looks like. Oh, that's pretty. It's like a lovely champagne highlight. Lovely. I really like this one for more of an everyday kind of look. It's really just pretty. It's a pretty one. Okay, let's do a little more blush. Yeah, I would just have to be careful up here. Three very distinct looks with each of these palettes, so I have to say, they don't overlap in any way. They all have very different feels and looks to them. Yeah, they all seem to have a very distinct appearance once on the skin, each of the palettes. Just need to find a nice lip to pair this with. Oh, I did receive this. Let me see. Let's just try this. This is by TWEED, and I really love Penelope Rose. Actually, I think that'd be really pretty with this. But I'm wondering if we should try something like, what is this? This is new to me. This is their Gabriella Beige Rose. Looks like this. I love, like I said, Penelope Rose. So this is why I selected this one to try, because I already knew I loved Penelope Rose. Oh. It's like a little bit lighter than my skin tone, but same family. It's like actually the lightest part of my lips is this color. Okay, I feel like that doesn't do anything for this look, but I could definitely use this for something else. So let me see. Okay, if you have been here recently, you know what I just put on. I just put a lip liner on, and it's not totally covering all of my lips yet because that's not the only color I want to put on here, because I noticed, okay, so my blush is on the warmer side, but this is really cool. So I did want to lay down just a little bit more of an intense color. So I thought we could do this. Let's go in with Natural Charm. Okay, so this is a caramel beige shade, it says, but I don't think of it like that. I think it's a really nice, I would go in with Cocoon, but I feel like I use that too much. Let's try this Sweet Treat. And we can always change it out if this doesn't work. But it's, I'm just trying to balance out this lilac shade with the warmth of the blush. But like I said, I think they work well together. I like those tones together. So I'm trying to find a lip that will work with both of them. This is nice. It kind of mutes this very intense, almost a magenta shade, the Rose Framboise. Pretty. And then it evens out my skin tone a little bit because this is sheer, as you know, the Rouge Coco Bombs doesn't totally cover up the lips, but I like to start with a lip liner just to get an even tone on there first. Okay, and I have to finish, not have to, but I would like to finish off with just a little bit of the excess of the Perfect Blur Powder just because that reflective quality of the highlight, not the highlight, but the blush emphasized pores a little bit too much for my liking. So I can always take care of it with the Perfect Blur Powder if I have a little too much glow. And I still want to see the glow though. I can still see it through there, which is really lovely. So it just helps to really blur this area so nicely. So here we are with the final look. I did want to mention that did work nicely to have that Jones Road Beauty pencil underneath this foundation. I don't know if it would work with every foundation, but because this has such nice coverage, I did want to just intensify that lilac a little bit using existing products that I had. So depending on the palette you use it with, you can either bring out more of those pinky tones like that Tweed palette, or you can go a little bit more neutral, a little bit more cool using Tisse Rivoli. If I wanted to add a little dimension, I could go in this lightest shade here right on the eyelid and use that as a topper. So actually let's do that now, just since we're talking about it. Really such a nice, soft, very refined kind of glow on this. It's so pretty. I wish they made this one as a single. Let me know if one of the singles reminds you of this lightest shade. I think it's so beautiful. I can see how versatile that would be. But you could do that as well and then add just a touch of glow, just a little bit of softness to the lids. Yeah, that's really pretty. And as I said, as I was trying this on, this one surprised me. I think I'm going to have to see if I use this more than medium rose gold. I think medium rose gold really gives you that nice tanned, like really tanned effect. This one though is just more dimension and a bit more subtle, very everyday. And I think that this one will work for me when it's not summer also. The medium rose gold is really well suited for when I am a little bit more tan, but when I'm not tan, I really think that this one does well. And it does well right now too when I do have a little tan. It's beautiful. Put a little bit more blush there. This one definitely surprised me. So what surprised me the most about this is that it worked so well on my skin tone. I really did not expect it to work well. I thought it was suited more for lighter skin tones and not medium skin tones. But one of the reasons, like I said, I picked it up is because you let me know that you were similar in skin tone and that it worked for you. And not only did it work for you, you really loved it. So that's the reason I picked it up. So thank you so much for the recommendation. But let me know if you have these palettes again, what your skin tone is, how you use them, and let me know what single eyeshadows you're pairing these with or what quads you have that you're pairing them with. I'd love to know. But that is it for today's video, so please take care of each other, stay well if you enjoyed this video. If you learned something, please give it a thumbs up, subscribe, and I